I'm going to show you the project demonstration for the 5th grade lesson, gesture and contour drawing. And so this one, there's going to be a couple steps that the students are going to do before they get to their final project. So the first thing that they're going to do is they're actually going to make one of these foil mannequins. Some of the schools may have some of those wooden articulated mannequins. If you have those in your art closet, those are fine to use. They're going to serve the same purpose. This is just for cost effectiveness. If you guys don't have these, then, or if you don't have the wooden ones, then the students can make the foil ones. And even if you have the wooden ones, the students do like to make these. They're kind of fun and they get to experiment with moving them around. So first I'm going to show you how to make the foil mannequin, and then we'll move on to the next step of the project. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with a piece of aluminum foil. This is just plain old regular aluminum foil. It's about an 18-inch sheet. It doesn't have to be exactly 18 inches, but they come in 12-inch rolls generally, so it's 12 inches this way. And then I just quickly tore off an 18-inch sheet. And you're going to cut a few cuts in this in order to make the mannequin. And the students can do this. I'm going to draw the lines with a Sharpie just to show you. They don't have to do that, but if you think it would be helpful, they can. So there's going to be one line just right down the center here, and they're about 4 to 5 inch lines. Mine's not exactly centered. That's okay. And then there's going to be 2 lines up here on this side. And then right about in the center, there is going to be 2 other lines. So you're just going to cut these lines with the scissors. And this is going to separate the mannequin. This is the head. These are the arms, legs, and then the body's right here. So, like I said, these lines should be about 4 to 5 inches. It's not super specific. So just cut those lines. And I'm actually gonna set, this line wasn't very centered. I'm gonna put it right here. And then the first thing that they're gonna do is they're gonna grab right in the middle where they did that, and they're just gonna squish it together. And then right away, they almost can start to see that was the waist we just squished, and then the legs are here. So then they can just start kind of rolling and forming these body parts to make them into the right body parts. And the foil will kind of on its own tear where it needs to tear to get the body right. And then this one's just gonna scrunch down into the head. So just have the students just kind of keep squishing. They're just kind of keep molding the foil until it looks right. So just like this. Now they do want to end up with a fairly proportionate body. So as you can see, these arms are definitely too long. So they can experiment with just folding the foil back and getting the arms to look like the right length, the legs. And they're not so much worried about the thickness of the body parts, but the length. Because that's just they're going to be experimenting with moving the body parts. So the thickness is not necessarily going to be correct, but the proportions of the length, you know, the arms to the legs and the body. So we're getting there. One thing that you can do just to help them get them together is you can give them like just a scrap piece of foil. So this is just, I don't even, like 8 or 9 inch piece of foil. And they can tear off pieces to help them get it to look better. Like I think the head needs to be a little bit larger just to get it looking better, so they can, that's the great thing about the foil, is they can kind of keep adding to it to get it correct. And it's easy to, and then sometimes adding an extra piece on the torso, it kind of helps it to stay in the right shape. So totally optional, but it might help. So there I've got my foil mannequin, and I feel like he or she is looking about the right size. So then what I would have the students do is work with a partner, or a small group is fine too, and have the kids practice, have a student make a pose and have them think of things like action poses, like running or jumping, dancing, things like that, because that's the idea behind gesture drawing, is that you're kind of getting, making the movements of the body apparent. So have them experiment with that. So if the students do a running pose, one of the students does a pose of what it looks like to run, have the students then move their, and they'll kind of get the idea of where the arms are when they're running, you know, so this arm's gonna be back and this arm's forward, and you know, how the body would be tilted so that it looks like it's running. And then the great thing about the foil is they can kind of straighten it all back out and start over. So as the students are kind of taking turns posing and then mimicking the pose with the mannequin, have them also quickly do a contour or gesture drawing of the pose that they're doing. So they can do it how they want. They can do more of a contour style drawing, which would be just doing an outline. They can do gesture drawing, which is a little bit more just mimicking the lines and movement. This is actually a great way to teach them how to do that, because it seems to be the easiest way. So these are kind of just squiggle contour drawings, and it works really well with colored pencil. And all they do is they can look at their mannequin that they have, and they just want to think that they're kind of doing squiggles. They're kind of getting the outline of the shape, and it fills in as they go. And it's a great way because they can easily go back. It's not like an outline where they feel like once the line's there, they've messed up if it's wrong, because they can keep filling in bigger. And then they kind of just keep making the shapes till they feel correct. And they can experiment too with adding different thicknesses of, you know, what the body would actually be. Or they can make it look just like the mannequin, whichever they're comfortable with. And then, so this is just a simple way to do that. Like I said, they don't have to do it exactly this way, but it is an easy way to do it. It's an easy way to really easily see that contour outline of the shape of the body. So have them experiment with this. Have them with their partner or their small group experiment each drawing and moving the mannequin to do, you know, maybe 3 or 4. So they'll end up with something like this. I have 6 on this, but that's just the idea. And this if they do different colors, it kind of is a piece of art in itself. Kind of if you had a, you know, a group of dancing outlines or whatever they want to do. So they'll have that. And then now they're going to move to their final product. And what they're going to do in their final product, they're going to end up with something like this. So they are going to make a contour drawing of one of the poses that they choose. And again, they want to think with gesture drawing and contour drawing, kind of think of how the body moves and a movement. So they could think of a movement in a sport they like to do, or you kind of want to have this idea of the body moving. So they can pick whichever pose or movement that they want to do. And again, that's what the finished product will look like. So to do this, they're first going to start with a pencil, and they're going to draw their contour drawing. So they're going to just be doing outlines, no details. And they're just going to draw it right in the center of the paper. And this is where I am not an artist, and that is just fine. I think most of our docents are not artists, and that's great because you're teaching fifth graders. They don't need to have a professional product for you to show them. In fact, sometimes that kind of discourages them because they can't get it to look the same. So I've got my outline and I feel pretty good about it. So the next thing that they're going to do is they are just going to trace in Sharpie. And I would make sure to have them put a scrap piece of paper underneath so you don't get the Sharpie on their desk. And they're just going to outline their contour drawing. And then they're just going to fill in the outline. Okay, so now I've got the outline all filled in, and now the idea is they want to fill in the whole background to make this kind of pop off the page. And it kind of, the idea is that the background is kind of also something that is giving the impression of movement, kind of like this. So not just like one single color, but just something bright and exciting in the background. So they can, I really like the oil pastels because they are so bright on the paper and they're easier to fill in the background than like colored pencils or something. So I'm just going to choose a pattern and I am going to fill in the background.